Welcome back to the KCC. This is Kenny's Chelsea channel, and today we're going to be previewing match day 20 in the Premier League as Chelsea face off against Crystal Palace at their home this Saturday. Sorry guys for the late upload. It's been a really crazy busy week for me over here, so I really do apologize for the late upload, but I do hope that this video finds you guys before the match begins. So, before we get started with the match preview, let me just do a little bit of housework here. If you guys would be so kind, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you guys are ready to go and excited for this upcoming match, please show me how excited you are by hitting a like on this video. And if you guys have anything to say, whether it's positive or even negative, I'm here for it all. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. So let's get into it, guys. This is going to be Chelsea's first reverse fixture of the season as we get into our first match of the new year. So 2024 was a pretty good year. We were definitely on the upswing after the performances we've had in the last couple years under this Clear Lake Ted Bowley Baghdadic Bally takeover for Chelsea. Finally seems like 2024 we found a little bit of consistency. Things seem to have been getting better. The squad seems to be almost completely finished and ready. But now it's 2025, and 2025 is going to present itself all new challenges. So are we going to finally find the perfect balance in our squad? Let's see. This January window is going to be very interesting. I'm sure we don't have a ton of money available to spend unless we get some sales through the door. So it's going to be a very interesting January transfer window, as I'm sure we have to be very ambitious with the great start we've had to life so far under Enzo Maresca in the first half of the season. As right now we're sitting in fourth place, 3 points above Manchester City, and it seems like it's going to be top five that gets you into the Champions League for next season. So I'm sure Chelsea Football Club is going to be doing everything in its power to finish the season in the top four at least, just to be sure that we can get into Champions League spots for next season. We don't want to cut it close like last season where we finished in sixth place, hoping we could land in a UEFA Europa League spot. But due to the result of the FA Cup final, where Manchester United miraculously beat Manchester City in the final and bumped us down to Conference League action. Which, looking back at it with the squad depth that we have this season, it has been kind of a blessing in disguise to be able to play in the Conference League, be able to give a lot of these French players some minutes and really see what they're capable of and kind of help the team gel together under the new vision and tactics that we have under our new coach. So, guys, as we know, or at least as I know, I don't know if you guys were there to watch our first match when we played at home versus Crystal Palace, and we ended up drawing the match 1-1. It was Nico Jackson and Eberechi Eze that scored. Eberechi Eze scored a wonder goal for Crystal Palace to equalize. And up until that point, it really did seem like we had the game in the bag. It honestly kind of reminded me of, or I guess now in hindsight, it kind of reminds me of our game versus Fulham, where we had the game in the bag, and then as soon as they scored, it's like the game kind of got turned on its head and they put us under a lot of pressure. Luckily, in the Crystal Palace game, we did not concede a second, and we were able to at least walk away with a draw in that game. But with our dominance in the beginning of the match and for most of the match throughout, we really did deserve the 3 points. So let's hope that we can actually get all 3 points in the reverse fixture now as we go to their home to play them. So, in that first match, the starting lineup that Enzo Maresca went with is actually the same exact lineup that I'm hoping to see now in the reverse fixture. So, at goalkeeper, we went with Robert Sanchez. I don't expect to see any changes there. Philip Jorgensen got his chance in the Ipswich Town match where we lost 2-0 to relegation battling Ipswich Town. So not a great performance from him. I mean, he gave away a penalty, a very controversial penalty, but if you guys saw my match review from that match, you guys would kind of understand what my thoughts on that was. A lot of people are saying it was a very soft penalty. I do agree with that, but I would still say that Philip Jorgensen shouldn't have put himself in that position in the first place. And with that being said, I mean, when you're getting such few opportunities, when you do come on, you really got to look, you got to be in top form when you come on if you're getting such little minutes. Because if not, then you're not really doing enough to prove that you should be taking over that number one spot. Because, of course, Robert Sanchez isn't perfect, but if he's already the coach's number one choice, and then you bring in your number two for a match and he doesn't do well, I mean, he gives away a penalty. I think that's enough reasoning within itself to say, hey, look, I don't think this guy's fit to take over the number one spot. So I do expect to see Robert Sanchez remain his spot in the Premier League side. Now for right back, I will say the same lineup as we saw in the Crystal Palace match in the reverse fixture. I don't want to see Enzo Maresca experimenting like he did versus Ipswich Town. I was open to rotation in that match, but one thing I will definitely say I was not open to was seeing the likes of Axel Disasi playing in that right back or right side on a back three system. We've seen time and time again that he is not fit to play in that position. Now, I know I kind of dug into him in the match review, and I would like to apologize because, in all sincerity, I'm not that type of guy to dig out players, but I was extremely frustrated after that match because it's like, you just see these same things over and over again by the same guy. You're eventually going to lose your mind when he does it in such a crucial match where, it could have ended a lot differently if it wasn't for that mistake. But don't want to dig into him too much. Hopefully, we can sell him honestly in this January transfer window and get some more cover in the center back position. We got the likes of Aaron Anselmino coming in from Argentina, Boca Juniors coming back into the side. He has been extremely injury prone, so let's see. Hopefully, he can somehow, some way stay fit now here in England. It does worry me how many injuries he's picked up in his short career. I mean, he only played 23 professional matches over in Argentina, and he's already picked up like 3 separate hamstring injuries that have kept him out pretty long term. I was honestly surprised to hear that he was fit when he was coming back over here because the last I had heard of him, he was out injured, but I guess he had recovered before this January transfer window opened up. So, for the lineup, guys, Robert Sanchez in goal. I do expect to see Malo Gusto back in the side. It seems like Enzo Maresca is not fancying Josh Achimpong at the moment. So then we have to go with Tosin, with Benrahma Badashil and Wesley Fofana out long term. Very devastating news to hear in the press conference that Enzo Maresca is saying that Wesley Fofana's season might be over again. It seems like every single season Wesley Fofana is just so unlucky, and we keep hearing the same news where he's out for the season, out for the season, out for the season. So extremely disappointed because he had such a great start to the season. Him and Levi Colwell were really starting to grow a really strong partnership back there. But it looks like we're going to be seeing a lot more of Tosin. So expect to see him in the side alongside Levi Colwell. He's definitely not losing his spot. And it definitely seems like we're going to need some sort of cover for that left-sided center back position, especially if Benrahma Badashil is going to be out as long term as it is seeming. But at left back, we're going to see none other than Mark Cucurella. Don't see anyone taking his spot right now. I mean, I think the only other option would be Renato Vega, which similar to Josh Achimpong. We're going to see him in cup games. We're going to see him in the Conference League, but don't expect to see much of him in the Premier League. In the midfield, of course, the 200 million pound duo, Moises Caicedo next to Enzo Fernandez. I've really been hoping that we can get some more cover for them in this upcoming window. I don't think we have to go out and buy any midfielders. I think we have enough out on loan. I would like to see Andre Santos finish out this season at Strasbourg. He's been having a great start to the season there. And honestly, in my opinion, we should just let him finish it out. Let him ride it out, finish the season out on a high, and then reassess him in the preseason next season. And hopefully he can join our first team and stay with our first team for next season. But a player that I would be very happy to bring back, as I do feel like he was seeming to fit in pretty well under Enzo Maresca's system in preseason, was Leslie Ugochukwu, who has not been getting many opportunities over on loan at Southampton. So I think it will just make more sense to bring him back from loan, especially if the Romeo Lavia injury seems to drag on, because it doesn't seem like he's been able to stay fit. In the press conference, Maresca was saying that Lavia is close to coming back, but even if he does come back, similar to Reece James, it's like they come back, but you never really know how long they're going to stay healthy for. So it's going to be very smart to bring in someone like Leslie Ugochukwu, not only to close out games, because I feel like with his size and his stature, he's a perfect profile to close out games when we're getting a little leggy and we're trying to hold on to a lead, but also to start certain matches, to give Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez a break, because right now it looks like they're having to start every match and play all 90 minutes every match, because we can't really put that trust into Casaday to come in for a lot of these matches. So hopefully we can move on Casaday. I'm expecting more so on a loan, maybe a loan with an option to buy, something like that, or with some sort of buyback clauses included. But it seems like Casaday is just really not fitting in to this team right now. And I think someone like Ugo Chukwu would be a better choice. Kieran Dewsbury Hall, Maresca said in the press conference that he was still out injured. Not like I was really expecting to see him in this game, anyways, but just some team news ahead of the match. In the 10th position, of course, we got to go with our man, Cole Palmer. And let's see, right wing, Noni Madueke retaining his place. I know he hasn't been firing on all cylinders as of late, but I do hope he can come back with a statement game, because Noni Madueke is that type of player. He's pretty inconsistent, but the quality is there. So when he's been lacking in a few matches, eventually he's going to pick it back up. And as sad as that is, I do feel like that front line of Noni, Nico, and Neto are going to be the smartest choice to start the match. Give Jadon Sancho a rest, maybe bring him in off the bench. But I think Noni and Neto on the left will be exactly what we need to really put Crystal Palace on their back foot, especially in the beginning of the game, because we need to get a goal early in the match to kind of calm our nerves. We've been on a 3-game slump, and there's nothing worse than going deeper and deeper into a match without scoring a goal, because that's when guys start to get a little on edge. So just to put that to bed, we got to go ahead, get that early goal, and then finish our chances, because we can't let that lead slip like we did in our reverse fixture back in September 1st when we played Crystal Palace at home. So, with that being said, for the score prediction, I don't think we're just going to go in there and blow them out, because honestly, Crystal Palace, they're sitting in 15th place right now, but they have 4 wins, 8 draws, and 7 losses. So they haven't been beating many teams. I mean, they weren't able to beat us the first time we encountered them. And they also started the season off very slow, and they've kind of picked it up a bit since then. But they've been keeping a lot of games close. Aside from that 1-5 defeat to Arsenal, a lot of their games have only been by margins of, 1 goal, maybe 2 goals. So they've lost to the likes of Everton, West Ham, Brentford, and those were earlier in the season when they were really struggling. They lost 1-0 to Liverpool. I think they lost also 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. They lost 2-0 to Fulham, and then the big loss was against Arsenal where they lost 5-1. And then their only wins have came against Tottenham, of course. Poor Tottenham gets beat by everybody. They beat Ipswich, which we weren't able to do. They beat Brighton pretty comfortably. I remember I watched that match. They won 3-1. And then they beat Southampton, another relegation battling team. And then they've drawn to the likes of us, of course. They drew against Newcastle. They drew against Aston Villa. So these were tough teams. They drew against Manchester City. They drew against Manchester United. And then they also tied against the likes of Leicester City and Bournemouth, who Bournemouth have been a pretty tough opposition this season. So they've definitely drawn a lot of games. They've drawn a lot of games against pretty impressive teams, with ourselves in that list, and they've lost to some pretty interesting teams. So from a side that's in the bottom half of the table, 15th place, I don't think they're in a relegation battle, but they're pretty close to it. They're extremely inconsistent. You never really know what you're going to get out of them. But what I do expect to see from them in this match is them playing with a back five system. They're probably going to be doing the same thing our last few opponents have been doing, sitting low in a mid to low block against us, just kind of waiting, hoping for us to break them down. And if we're not able to, bam, hit us on the counter attack. So we have to be extremely aggressive, getting back on defense on those transitions, because that's something we struggled against the likes of Ipswich big time. We struggled against Fulham, getting back in transition. And I do think that has to do with now these Conference League, group stage games are over with. So we haven't been seeing as much rotation in the last few matches. And then that December period, we're just extremely congested with so many matches in a short amount of time. So hopefully we can get that energy back, feel rejuvenated after the new year. Hopefully the boys haven't been out partying too hard for New Year's, and we can get back to winning ways to start 2025 in the best way possible. So I would say my score prediction is going to be a win by Chelsea, 1-2, with the likes of Nico Jackson and Cole Palmer scoring our goals. I don't really see goals coming from anybody else in the moment that we're in right now. As sad as that is, as we started the season, flying with so many different goal scorers and so much creativity in our attack. Things have kind of slowed down a bit. Does that mean that teams are kind of figuring us out? Or is it more just that, we're a little bit low on energy at the moment? Hopefully we can get that back. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Like I said, I do hope this video finds you before the match begins. I really do apologize for such a late upload, but it's been a crazy week for me, guys. I do apologize. So before I let you guys go, I will say once again, please, if you're still here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, make sure to hit a thumbs up on the video. Let me know how much you liked it. And of course, leave a comment down below. Let's get a conversation started and grow this community. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned till the next one. I will be releasing a match review after tomorrow's match against Crystal Palace. Hopefully, I'll be so excited after a huge win by Chelsea to start the new year off right. But we'll see how that goes, guys. So thanks for staying tuned. Peace.